Big thanks to Kamado Joe for sponsoring this episode.
So Chef Eric is here with me and we're in the studio and I got a locker full of beautiful pork meat. It's locally grown, it comes from the farmer, another farmer raised it also locally. I'm super excited about this because I took this apart as far as it is already, but I want to offer it to you and see what we can make out of it.
Being from North Carolina, seeing this is like Christmas come early. I see so many fun cuts and so many value adds for people to really get this stuff in larger pieces, take home, and create an experience that's a little less expensive, but a lot more elevated.
So for instance, we got this beautiful cut right here, and I was thinking that this could be perfect for a cook.
So this is the loin section, right? So kind of upper top, when they talk about high on the hog, eating high on the hog, this is endemic of this, okay? So we have the tenderloin on the inside of what would be the baby back ribs, and then the loin section here, carving off some of this beautiful fat and skin to crisp up and make cracklings. We've got a lot of options, but I like the porterhouse. I like the pork porterhouse or the T-bone, where we leave that loin on and we highlight the tenderloin and leave that beautiful chine bone in there.
I think that's a great idea. Let's turn it into pork T-bones.
Here we go. So what we've got here is a beautiful dry aged pork loin. This is the primal from the top center section. So for this cut, we're highlighting both the loin section and the tenderloin section with that chine bone in. This is a beautiful, beautiful cut. Whenever you're doing butchering, you want to try to cut as much as possible. You really don't want that saw going through the meat, so we're going to use our knife and trace around the thickness of the cut we want. Now we're going to use that saw and just cut through the chine bone ever so simply. Once we're through, look at this beautiful, beautiful pork T-bone. Let's go ahead and cut our second one. Same thing, using the knife as much as possible. If we're using that saw, we're oxidizing the meat and it's gonna spoil faster. We've done the majority of the work with the knife. Now just a little pop with that saw and we're off. Two gorgeous pork T-bones. These T-bones are stunning, all right? Notice there's a natural line right here between the first fat cap layer and the second. I want to trim this first one off and the skin off and use that later on as chicharrones. And you can almost do butchery with your hand. If you're strong enough, this seam style butchery is just so cool. We don't want to damage it though, so I'll put a little bit of a knife edge right on that and notice how it just choop, 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 and that's perfect. Save this for later use, and then we're gonna keep all that gorgeous fat content on there. Give it a little score to help promote rendering throughout the cook, and we'll even spend a little time fat cap side down on top of the heat to render that out. Now that we've scored that, let's go ahead and do the same thing for this other beautiful pork T-bone. And again, that was just ride the knife. That fat is beautiful. And remember, we're working with the pork T-bone here. So you got that beautiful tenderloin, beautiful loin, nice fat cap, chine bone still on. Anything bone in is gonna just exude more moisture content, more porky flavor, and that is a lot of fun. Let's build a quick marinade to accentuate this pork T-bone. For the garlic for this marinade, I like to smash it with my hand instead of chopping it into small pieces. That way it won't burn up on us, but we'll still get that big, bold garlic flavor. Generally, I like to use molasses. Since we're here in the Netherlands, I'm gonna use some apple stroop. It's got that sweet kind of caramel note that I'm looking for that is so good on pork. Next, a touch of nice olive oil, and that's gonna be the vehicle or the medium for all this to spread and marinate. So just work your little simple flavors in there. And whenever dealing with high quality pork, don't go too many ingredients. Simple things done perfectly are gonna win every time. Fresh cracked pepper to bring a little bit of heat and a little bit of bitter. Nice flaky salt and a little bit of fresh herb. I prefer thyme. Thyme and pork and apple, great combination. Very rustic. Don't worry if there's a little stem in there, that is a-okay. Now that we've got a nice little coating for our pork, I want to jacquard that pork a little bit so that it'll accept the marinade really fast. And so we're going to take our beautiful pork T-bones and use our fork and just put some great holes in it. Don't forget the fat cap side. I find a fork for home use works great. Let's go ahead and reserve this and get our grill started. So lighting the grill is a simple thing to do, but one of my most favorite things to do. This is where you begin to interact with the live fire, scratch that primal itch. You wanna make sure that draft door is all the way open so we have maximum airflow. And then we're gonna incorporate some new charcoal with some charcoal left over from a previous cook. Notice in the firebox, we've got that charcoal from a previous cook. I'm just gonna rake it around and get rid of all the small pieces right through the holes here in the fire grate. Now that we've got that cleaned up, let's go ahead and add an equal amount of charcoal, and then we're gonna bank to one side. I wanna make sure and see a couple of those holes in the fire grate, or if you have a fire basket, you wanna see some of those tines. That's gonna help promote oxygen flow and get our fire started faster. I'm gonna put this at the bottom of our charcoal pile. And now I'm gonna start loosely stacking charcoal around to give the flame access to the fuel source. I'm loving the fire right now, and I wanna introduce you might've seen this in other videos that we've done, but to my favorite grill setup, all right? This is best of both worlds. We're gonna put a grill grate at the lowest setting of the divide and conquer, and then we're gonna put an indirect deflector shield, and then put this grill grate on the highest setting. So we've got essentially a culinary jungle gym here of low and slow and then blistering fast and furious. So let's go ahead and transition these beautiful pork T-bones to the indirect side, and we're gonna let them come to temperature very slowly. We don't want that beautiful apple play on molasses to over caramelize. We're gonna let this go for about 30 minutes at 350 degrees, and then we're gonna flip for another 30 minutes, dome down. Then we're gonna blister sear to finish. Choo choo. Oh yeah. Nice rendering occurring. I'm still gonna keep that fat content close to the edge. Close the dome and calm things down just a touch. Damper down that control tower. And we're gonna whisper it the rest of the way till we're ready to sear. Very good. Now we're gonna finish with a little more caramelization. Put a little salt on there just to amplify those pork flavors. And now I'm gonna leave it lit up and get that blistering sear, that last bit of caramelization. Now I've got the option to pump the brakes if I need to cook it a little further by moving it back to the indirect, or if it was finished up like we'd planned over here, we can just take it straight off. But feeling the thickness of this and feeling the bounciness, we could take an internal temperature. I can tell it needs about 5 more minutes. We're gonna shut the dome. We're gunning for an internal temperature of 140. That's feeling spot on. I love the caramelization, love the bark. Let's take a look at this. Stunning. So now the most difficult part of all of barbecue, letting it rest. You can see it's still bubbling up there, that fat content. Just because we took it off the grill doesn't mean it stops cooking. So that fat content is still rendering and oozing out. If we sliced into it, the juices would just pour everywhere. We need to let things slow down a little bit. We need to let all those juices redistribute. This is gonna be the best pork I've ever had, I'm having a feeling. One of the simplest sauces I know with big bold results is barbecue honey. Get some local honey in your favorite barbecue seasoning, whip them up, and look at that. It looks like liquid stained glass. Gonna be excellent on this pork. Well, we're rested.
Rested?
Barbecue honey's been made.
Let's go.
What are we supposed to do? I don't even know. Oh, we gotta cut it. Which one do you want to start with?
The big one.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. So the best way I've found to slice these beauties is to release them from the bone.
Ooh.
Now that T-bone comes right about here, and we'll just carve out that fillet. Look at this. Now that's a bite.
That is a good looking piece of meat.
I'm gonna leave that right there. Come on the other side and release the loin. So that was the tenderloin. And now you can truly see the T-bone action. Oh, and those bites that are still on there, you get a little bit of, oh, so that's the bite. This is, wait till you try the sauce on it, and just cutting straight down the loin, that fat cap on the end. I'm so glad we left big chunks of that. And I'm just cutting it in a way that it kind of shingles and gives us a nice little presentation. Do me a favor, do the honors.
Whoa!
Lush.
That is tasty looking.
There, you know, there's a German saying that I love so much. More is more.
More is more. Look at that dripping.
Wow.
Good.
Wow. Let's try a tenderloin. Stunning. Wow.
Nothing beats a tenderloin.
Because you get best of both worlds.
And that char, that's the magical part. That's the part that I'm looking forward to. Most people are gonna say like, oh, that's burnt. No, it's not. It's the magical part. It's what makes it stand out from anything else. I absolutely love it. It's juicy, it's tender, it's got a lot of flavor. This is good eating.
I am gonna steal one.
Get in there, brother. Hey, go show them that honey. Dip it in the...
There you have it. We gotta hurry up. I want to close up the video before everybody gets in. Hope you enjoyed the show and make sure you follow Eric Gephardt on his Instagram account. Hope to see you guys next time. Until then, eetsmakelijk and
keep cooking.
I
don't know what else to say.
Keep on grilling.
That's what I said, right?
Everybody knows.
Happy grilling. Keep on grilling. Eetsmakelijk.